Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Naya. Sim, thank you so much for the support. Hope you all are doing great. For the white man saying that he is working to make sure that everybody is equal and all that. If you start today, you did not start on time, but it's okay. Whenever you wake up, it's okay to start. Now, I am going to say this to all the leftists that are always looking for a way to drag Black people into something that they know nothing about. But you all are really moving in one silly direction. And I am going to say this, Samaya, I really do not understand sometimes direction you are going. But one thing I am going to say is that I know you are very young, but sometimes being young does not mean that you cannot make your research. I know you are trying to shade. I got that shade. But one thing I wanted to know is that thank your goodness that your parents or whoever made it to United States, and that is how you became American citizen, right? I hope you thank those people and thank Black women, Black people in general for paving way for every other person that migrated, right? You are asking, you are saying that the 92% that said that they are Kamala Harris supporters, that they said that they are not going to come up. What have you done as a leftist? How many times have I seen you on the road? I want you and your colleagues to move out, go to the road, and do what you are supposed to do as a Black person because you are a Black woman. You want to fight for everybody. Lead the road, let other people follow you. You all are just really acting wild and silly at the same time. You want to shade, right? You didn't even start shading on time. So go back and read for your own good. Let's get into this video.
I am starting a movement called the Combat Racism Movement. And this movement is designed to highlight the systematic and generational racism that has been going on for centuries. Let's be honest, it's been going on forever. I can't sit down now and continue to be quiet about how strongly I feel about this issue. The amount of hate that the mainstream media spread, causing division, causing divides between all of us based on religion, based on belief systems. All of this propaganda that is put out is having a direct impact on human beings, how we communicate with each other, and builds up a negative perception of people due to the colour of their skin, due to their religious beliefs. And I can't sit here and listen to it anymore. So Combat Racism Movement, that's the movement. We can all stand together, we can all live in a better place. We can coexist, we can do that. Believe me, we've got to start teaching our kids the right way, seriously. We can't let this carry on. We can teach our kids that everybody is equal, that we all bleed red, that racism is not the answer. And that's where I believe the true change starts. If we can make a generational change from our young people, that will weed out the racism. I'd really believe that. The next problem is the mainstream media, because they reinforce these ideas that it's okay to be racist towards different religions. It needs to stop. Let's stop this now.
Kind of just roll my eyes whenever I see people being like, and don't expect us to be on the streets protesting Trump's fascism, and this is almost always from Kamala voters. Because aside from the inherent silliness of taking the position, I'm just gonna sit out opposition to fascism, and this is definitely gonna go better for me than like any other population that has ever tried that strategy historically. I just want to know, what has your activism ever actually gotten us? Like, where does the confidence come from? Because I feel like I've developed a critique of the US movement space and, US activism, but that comes from like studying the social movements of the past decade, 2 decades, and observing where they failed, how they were stymied, dismantled, defanged, and ultimately rendered ineffective. Such as how Occupy had so much momentum and yet wealth inequality is only growing, or how Black Lives Matter was one of the well, if not the largest movements ever organized. And yet, 2024, police killed more people than ever. But like, me having this critique would never then leave me to say, we need to do less activism, we need to be less involved in pushing back against the current moment. So to people who have this sort of idea of like, you're gonna miss our activism when it's gone, I just wanna know, when have you exercised political agency ever in your life? When has something that you genuinely wanted come to pass because of your actions? We're all trying to fight political despair, and this is a dangerous moment for everybody. If you think stepping back is going to keep you any more safe, you have another thing coming. The fight is for a political system that responds to all of us, and it's not impossible, but we have to be honest about the things that are standing in our way of achieving that, which includes the current method of how we perform activism in the United States. Kind of just roll my eyes whenever I see people being like, and don't expect us to be on the streets protesting Trump's fascism, and this is almost always from Kamala voters. Because aside from the inherent silliness of taking the position, I'm just going to sit out opposition to fascism, and this is definitely going to go better for me than like any other population that has ever tried that strategy historically. I just want to know, what has your activism ever actually gotten us? Like, where does the confidence come from? Because I feel like I've developed a critique of the US movement space and, US activism, but that comes from like studying the social movements of the past decade, 2 decades.
Okay, so let's just cut to the chase. The people that you were talking about here, when you say these people who want to sit out, what has that ever gotten you, and what kind of strategy is that? You're talking about mostly Black people on TikTok who are saying that they are very frustrated and fatigued from having done so much work last year to try to get people to understand that we were going to be facing a really bad situation if she lost, and that's exactly where we're at right now. So they were right. And you're just kind of bemused by the fact that they would get on here and say, y'all don't call us. Don't call us anymore. You go and do those movements yourself, right? Because you guys sat it out last year. And I think this is weird for a couple reasons. The first one I'll call out, which is a little bit dangerous for me to talk about. But I'll say this, you as a Black woman, you are really slagging other Black women mostly. In this situation, and you're being given girls from like white leftists for doing it, right? Now I'm sure that analysis doesn't mean anything to you because on the left you guys are so far left that you don't believe that you're in some sort of post-racial only economics matter type of situation, but that's not the world that we live in. Race does matter, and the reason I call this out is because I've never understood the concept of the foundational Black Americans, the FBAs, so much as when I watch you and Candace Owens. Two people who are like first gen, second gen, been here for 5 minutes, and all of a sudden can crap on all of the traditional ways in which Black people exercise their politics in the United States. This thing around strategic voting and strategic electioneering and all that practical kind of politics, that is what got us a lot of things. You say, well, what did that ever give you, sitting it out or doing the stuff that you're doing and whatever? It got us you. Because all of the work and the strategies that you are deriding right now is the same work that opened the doors for immigrants and LGBTQ people and people with disabilities and others who were able to find their civil rights and gain their kind of footing in the United States because of the very work that you are deriding right now. Now, I know you don't see the connection between this last election and the way that Black people participated in it and the way that they did in the one before that, and the one before that, and the one before that, and the one before that, because you're probably 20 or 21 years old. And you know very little about the world before that, and you're not even from here, really, right? So I understand when you don't have any roots or any grounding in the people that you are attacking in this way that you're doing right now. But the strategies you're talking about, the sitting out strategy, it's temporary. People being frustrated and fatigued in the moment, saying that they're tired of showing up for everybody else's cause, and that when the chips are down, a lot of those very same people vanish, and you were one of those people. Because you're talking about sitting out now, but last year we were talking to people like you about sitting out before the election. And you all just were so adamant about the fact that voting for Kamala Harris was the wrong thing to do, and there was no difference between her and Donald Trump. So you were sitting it out. So when has that ever worked for you? That's what I want to know. Because see, the people that you're deriding have gotten people elected, they've gotten policies passed and policies reversed. They've installed programs and they've changed things that have meaningfully brought material benefits to people's lives. But what have you done, really? I just really want to know, what have you guys ever won? How many politicians do you have right now that you've elected from your super hyper leftist worldview? I'll wait. And I know I'll be waiting a long time because lived long enough to see that it's not coming anytime soon. So you could keep making these videos for the viewing of white leftists who love to see someone like you go after us in the way that you're doing, in the same way that people love Candace Owens. I will say that when you really gave it up when you said, I have a critique that I've gained by studying. Sometimes you can be so book smart and so world stupid that you don't even know it, right? And what I would say to you is you probably have gained a lot from studying because you've studied everything except for humility and cultural competence. And I just really encourage you to find a course on both.
So it's come to my attention that there are some creators that are on this app that have been taking my videos, stitching them, and running with this narrative that I'm just on my platform promoting to all Black people and people of color to absolutely do nothing amid all of the government issues that America is facing. That I'm telling them to just not do anything at all. That I'm basically encouraging division and this, that, and the fourth. All of which is false. And I'm going to clear that up right now. Now, I'm going to repeat what I've stated before, but I want to make this as clear as possible. Black people are not leading this march. We are not leading this movement. We're not. And there's reasons behind why we are not. Okay? But I've stated time and time again that if the others pick up the baton and lead the rally, that we would follow. Actually, I have a couple of clips, but let me just insert this right here. We said we wasn't moving unless they started moving first. And they started organizing. So now it's time for us. So that's not me telling you guys, encouraging you guys to boycott with your dollars. What I won't tell Black people or people of color to do is to go outside and boycott with their bodies. Not right now. No, I wouldn't. Because I believe that the mass organization of Black bodies in the street will lead to the mass assassinations of Black bodies in the street by law enforcement, by militia. I believe that wholeheartedly. And so I cannot enforce, I can't encourage that. I can't recommend that. You know, the great thing about history is while it's a tool in order to be able to track what has happened, while moving forward, it is also a beautiful resource in order for you to plan effectively and efficiently and so that you don't repeat the past, right? So let's go down memory lane. Women's suffrage movement. Lot of protests nationwide. What happened? What type of treatment did they endure from law enforcement? So we have right up here, during the women's suffrage movement, law enforcement often responded to protests with arrests, fines, even imprisonment. Some suffragists faced harsh treatment, including force feeding and during hunger strikes, right? Now let's read how civil rights protesters were treated by law enforcement. Police used water hose, right? Police dogs, tear gas to break up protests and peaceful sit-ins. Protesters were beaten, bruised. Many were arrested. Excessive force and brutality, right? Now let's read what type of treatment that the Black Lives Matter protesters endured by law enforcement. During Black Lives Matter protests, law enforcement often responded with excessive force, including the use of tear gas, pepper spray, rubber bullets, batons, even against peaceful protesters. And let's be honest, all of them were peaceful protests. They were all peaceful protests. And we have people who lost their sight, who lost their eye. So if historically speaking, every single time that we go outside and we use our bodies as forms of protest, this is how we are being treated compared to other protests, historical protests that happen, where they don't receive not even a fraction of the brutality and the excessive force that Black people do. Why would you as a Black person continue to encourage other Black people to go out and fight for a country that does not care for them, for a country that, quite frankly, still abides by that unspoken rule where they do not want to acknowledge Black people as humans? I'm trying to make sense of it. White people have had plenty of rebellions and plenty of protests that have been successful in the past, historically speaking. So what's the problem with them taking the lead on this one? Especially if we all know Black bodies go outside, Black bodies will be slain. Not only that, if there are a mass organization of black people in the streets right now, it would give Donald Trump every reason that he needs to enact martial law. Do you know what happens when martial law is enacted? Okay? That replaces civilian government with militia government. Okay? That means that there is no checks and balances. It displaces checks and balances. All of that is suspended. All of those court cases of these federal judges trying to keep checks and balances in place when it comes to Donald Trump and his power trip, all of that will be shut down. Not only that, there will be the removal of certain constitutional rights, like your freedom of speech. It literally says right there, suspension of civil liberties. Many civil liberties, such as the freedom of speech, freedom of movement, and the right to assemble can be suspended. Like, are y'all even thinking, or y'all just talking because you think you sound cute? What is it? Because I'm trying to understand. And then after that, after you tell people, oh, we need to be out there, we need to be out there, we need to be fighting, we need to be protesting, we need to be rallying, then what? Then what? What is the plan after that? Because law enforcement is definitely going to be on our asses. Then what? What comes after that? What do we do? What do we do when black bodies start dropping? What do we do? And another thing, stop acting like if shit really hit the fan, all black people would not get up off of their asses and do what the fuck they gotta do like we always do. Please stop acting like we won't. Right now, we're resentful, we're upset, we're discouraged, we're disgusted, we're disappointed, we're tired. And we're allowed to feel those things. We're allowed to be upset. Stop telling black people to suck up their feelings and go and fight the good fight because that's what you expect out of us. We're hurt, we're angry. But best believe if we have to fight, we will.
Seeing a lot of critiques of the whole thing of like black people arresting, and I think that two things can be, true at the same time. When one side is saying that this whole resting and doing nothing within the black community is like an issue because all of us are still going to face the brunt of, whatever kind of constitutional crisis that we're going through, while people who are arresting are saying clearly no one else cares about us. We are clearly used as expendable bodies that are put on the front lines to push a movement. That's understandable. Two things can be true at the same time. It is true that a lot of these protests going on have been a sea of white faces, and we haven't seen any of them nationalized on TV. And that black bodies being on the forefront makes people feel more comfortable because we are seen socially as the most expendable voices. Yet somehow also the most important. Black people have a long history of being used as cannon fodder just for people to go back and treat them like shit right afterwards, despite their sacrifices. But I also think the concept of just like doing nothing in the face of a constitutional crisis, one that will affect us as well as other groups, is a bit asinine and irresponsible. See, I believed what was actually happening when black people were saying that we were resting was that we were focusing more on ourselves, educating ourselves, going to college more, doing things that benefit us and other black people the most, because, that is what we were going to need in this time of darkness that we might be going into. But it seems like people are just genuinely doing nothing, and that is not the move. I do feel like black people need to look into each other more, check on each other more, change our entire policy on how we deal with each other, be more social in the way that we deal with each other during a time like this. I thought the notion of resting was in regards to protesting, not in just complete ending of political activism from black people. That doesn't make any sense. But more, I feel like it makes more sense to not allow for ourselves to be a political talking point or pawn or cannon fodder anymore for these other groups. We still need to be awake. All of these things are still very important. We need to lock in on each other and also be politically active. And also still not be taken advantage of by other groups of people.
Hey guys, did y'all hear about April 5th? April 5th, there will be a 1 million people march in protest of the administration. I heard today that number jumped up to a 2 million people marching protests. If anybody comes and asks you to join that protest, get the hell away from them. Get away from them as soon as you can. They don't give a damn about you. They got this. The people out there, they're protesting. They've been protesting. There hasn't been any bloodshed. There hasn't been any lives lost. We haven't even heard about arrests. They got this. And if anybody comes and asks you to join in on this, they are not concerned about your well-being. We all know the minute we come out there, it's going to be a whole different vibe. Oh, the police will be known. Their presence will be known. You don't even know they're out there right now. We go out there, all that's gonna change. And everybody knows that, including that person that's asking you to come out there on their behalf. They know we are not going to get the treatment that they've been getting. They're safe. We, on the other hand, we're not risking our lives for you guys anymore. And anybody that asks us that, is let us know you only want to use us. You don't give a damn about us. You don't care if they crack our skulls. You don't care if we're laying in the streets. You don't care if we're getting hit with pew-pews. You don't care as long as you get what you want, right? That's what they're telling you when they come and ask you to participate in this march. This is not our fight. This is not our fight. We didn't make this mess. We did not vote this administration in. We have nothing to do with what's going on today. We played no role in ushering this season in. We did everything humanly possible to prevent this. We did everything we could. It was all over everywhere. The warning signs, the people were talking, the people were teaching, the people were even reading Project 2025 to people. They took that out of their own, they took that time out of their own schedules and their lives to inform people. But it wasn't enough. Now they require our blood. Not giving it to you. Not giving it to you. We don't have anything to do with this march. We don't. We're protesting in other ways. But we are not coming out there in those streets. We're not doing it. We did everything to prevent even having to go out in these streets. So we should not be risking life and limb. Because they're waiting on us. They're salivating and waiting on us. We ain't coming. We're not coming. We don't care what you call us. We don't care how you try to call us out. The gaslighting can stop. The we like this, that, all that crap can stop. The Hispanics, the Cubans, the Mexicans, all y'all, the gig is up. The gig is up. The gig is up. We know how you feel about us now. So no, you can't rely on us. No. No, you can't. And we are not embarrassed by that. We don't feel no type of way, to be honest. You showed us who you are. Your own came out and told us out their mouths. Your numbers told us. Your numbers says you need to be out there. You need to be calling out your people who put this administration in and get them, and y'all all go out there. Let's see if 92% of y'all women and 80% of y'all men can go out there and support that march. Let me see that. Every ethnic race. Let's see if y'all numbers can match what our numbers are when we were out there trying to get the right thing done. That may be a good starting point. But no more. No more profiting off of our blood spill. Because once you profit from it, then you turn your back on us until you need us again. The well has ran dry. The well has ran dry. The eyes are open and the veils are off. We see you. And we're cool with it. We're cool with it. Because it wasn't you helping us to be able to enjoy some of the rights and the privileges and the benefits that you were enjoying off of our blood, off of our sweat, off of our tears, off of our losses. So, it's time for y'all to do the heavy lifting. It's time for y'all to stand on those front lines. Everybody who voted the way you voted, and there was not one other group of people that did not stand up as solid as we did. Not one other group. You guys were split down the middle or a little bit left, right, little. You weren't together at all. So get together. Go out here and handle this march. I heard y'all gonna have like 2 million peeps. So that's a good number. Go for it. Go out there. Be one big loud voice. Let them know how you feel. Because quite frankly, a lot of y'all that need to be out there, y'all ain't mad enough. We see how y'all get when y'all get mad. When y'all pissed to the highest level of pistivity, we see how y'all act. We'll never forget January 6th. So some of y'all out there, y'all ain't mad enough. When you get mad enough, we'll know. We'll see. But as of right now, April the 5th, we wish y'all all the best. We will be there in spirit. In spirit. My 92 and my 80%. That's the first Saturday in April. Sounds like a great grill out day to me. Sounds like a great spruce up the patio, spruce up the sunroom, spruce up the deck. Get that grill to smoking. Put on a little of them oldies but goodies. Throw back a couple brewskis. I don't know, guys. Sounds like the beginning of the chill season. All right. Y'all have a good one. I just wanted to give you that heads up. Peace out.
This is all I got from this video, and I love the way Comrade Chris actually spoke, because sincerely speaking, Somaya, her name is Somaya, that black little girl, Somaya, I am following her, but sincerely speaking, she is a leftist. And one thing I don't like batching, especially people that look like me here, but one thing is that Somaya know that she is on a wrong train, but she does not want to admit it. And sometimes I try to make excuse for her because she is 20, she is quite young, but also being young doesn't also stop you from using your brain, because she is making research, right? She makes most of the research on some certain things to speak and all that. What stopped her from doing the real research? This is one of the things that happen to people that never want to speak the truth. Samaya, last year that they were calling people to vote right, you and your colleagues and some of the pro-Palestinians, she is Nigerian, if I am not mistaken. Samaya is Nigerian. I know she was born in United States, but if you trace it back, they are coming from Nigeria, right? Which I do not have a problem with. But where I have problem with her is the fact that she has been lying to herself. I rarely see her speak up on what is going on in Congo and some other countries, or even Nigeria, which it's none of my business, because I know sometimes speaking on political Nigerian politics could really be very dangerous for anybody. But she knows that she is lying. She knows that whatever she's doing is performative. I said what I said, right? And there is also nothing wrong also in tracing your way or ways back. I see some of you all, the way you people share each other's videos and all that. You all know that you all are liars. One thing I will encourage every one of you to do is to give credit to whom credit is due. Black women have a fight in it for you. And when did your parents migrate to United States? I have no idea. But thank goodness I thank goodness for civil right. Because if there was no civil right, or if Black women did not fight for it, I am sure majority of you that migrated wouldn't be enjoying some of the things you all are enjoying. You all are so quick to point accusing fingers on people when the rest of the fingers you are pointed are facing you. You are asking Kamala Harris this thing. What? See, the 92% and 80 something percent are resting. You, Somaya, should hit the road, right? If you love the country that much, I expected you to see you and your fellow leftists. You all should be at the forefront, because you all are crazy. You all are moving wild. You all are moving like, I don't know the direction you all are always moving. You all should mount the road, also lead the protest. You cannot be blabbing from the balcony of your house or your street and all that. But you want to ask people that have been standing in gap for every other person to hit the road, or asking them what have they done. If you do not know what they have done, go back and check, because you've been reading. Go back and read what they have done and the ways they have literally paid for everybody. You all are going wild this time around. But trust me, I am sure that you all know what you are doing. You all just want to be leftists for nothing. I mean, I know you are tap dancing for some certain people, because your comment section says it all. The white, the pro-Palestinians, and the rest of it. But I don't care. I don't care. People like you do not like yourself that much, because it's very obvious. You are trying to shade Black people, Black women, and the rest of them, right? I got that shade. But you are still a child. You need to go back, be humble, read up. Because you all that are in that America, you all are benefiting from everything those people want for. Because if not for them, you won't be there and you won't be enjoying anything. I hope this marinates, but you all are always doing too much. Bye for now.